When I tell you that the way that I do my makeup has changed, I mean that the way that I do my makeup has changed drastically in the last few years. It is wild. The looks that were really in style even like 2 or 3 years ago have massively changed, and we are doing things so differently now. I am doing things so differently now that I am 37. I'm in my late 30s. I'm starting to get quite a few fine lines around my eyes. The things that I used to do back when I was 30, 31 are not working for me anymore. So I wanted to come on here and take a minute to teach you guys a really easy daytime look that is very fresh and natural. We're not even gonna be going in with foundation today. I wanna show you something that you can throw on and feel absolutely gorgeous in the summer months. Let's go. The very first thing that I start with is sunscreen. It is so important for aging prevention. It is the one thing out of all the things that you could do to your skin that is going to keep you looking as good as possible for as long as possible. I am using a really cool sunscreen today. I am using the brand Supergoop. I bought this at Sephora and I had never heard about it before. I was actually in the Dominican with my family and I saw this girl on the beach who had the most beautiful glowing skin ever. And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go up to her and I'm gonna tell her, because I literally couldn't stop looking at her. She just had this beautiful, beautiful glow to her. So I went up to her and I just said like, excuse me, sorry, this is awkward. I'm such a nerd and I'm so socially awkward like that. But I really think that if you notice something really beautiful about someone, you should tell them, because it could really make their day and it could mean a lot to them. You know, people have a lot going on in their lives that you don't even know. So I went up to her on the beach and I said like, you don't know me, but I just want to tell you that I think you have the most beautiful skin I've ever seen. And she looked at me and she was like, what? Really? I'm so self-conscious about my skin. And I was like, how can you possibly be self-conscious about your skin? You are so stunning. Like, your skin is gorgeous. I noticed it like all the way across the beach. And then she pulled this out from her bag and she's like, you know what it is? It's actually Supergoop Glow Screen. And I was like, what? And she said someone had told her about it. And basically it has like these light reflecting pigments in it. So it has like a sheen to it that's not sparkly, but it's kind of light catching, and it's absolutely beautiful. There are 2 different types. There's the Glow Screen, which has a sheen, and then there's one that doesn't have it. If you don't like having this kind of radiance on your skin, then you can definitely get the one that doesn't have it. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna work on my eyes before I work on anything else, and I'm going to show you why in a second. So this is MAC's Paint Pot in Painterly. This is just a cream shadow. It's a long wear cream shadow, but I like to use it as an eyelid primer because it corrects any discoloration. So if you look at my eyelids and you look at your eyelids, you will notice that you have discoloration on it because the skin is so fine here and so thin that the veins shine through. So you're just gonna grab that paint pot and you're gonna go from brow bone all the way to lash line, and you're going to even that out. We are not gonna be doing like any eyeshadow work today, but having that little lift here in the eyelids actually really does make a huge difference to how awake and how vibrant and refreshed you look. If you have a pigmented lid, it automatically makes you look quite tired. So this is a 1-second step that will get you looking a lot more refreshed. Whenever we have something creamy in an area like this where there's a fold, once you get heat, right, the heat's going to make the cream product move and it's gonna crease. Everything creases, okay? Even if it says does not crease or creaseless, it's absolute bull. It will crease. Everything that's a cream creases, everything. So all I do to make that crease proof, see, you can already tell that it's starting to crease. So I just take a triangular powder puff like this one. I got this one on Amazon, and I dip into a translucent powder, and then I stipple away any of the creasing, and I push that powder, that really fine powder, into the lid, and that's going to seal everything up so that there will absolutely be no creasing. It basically turns this into like a really nice satiny finish that can't budge or move. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start contouring my crease with a bronzer. Now, the cream bronzer that I'm using is by Chanel. I like this one. I recognize that it's very expensive. I'm gonna be using a couple of Chanel products in here. I know that this is expensive, but it is massive. I use it every day. I've used it every day for a year and I still have so much of the pan left. It is worth it. There are dupes for it. So if you prefer to get a cream bronzer dupe, absolutely go for it. This one I just find is a really great color for me. This is the Tan Deep Bronze. They also have one that's lighter in tone that I have in my kit for my clients. But I just find it such a versatile cream bronzer. So I just like to darken in here a little bit and warm this area up. And I go in windshield wiper motions, but then I also do these little circles to blend it all out. Don't worry if this is messy because we're gonna clean it up. And that's why we are doing the eyes first. I like a bit more of like a crisp eye. And doing the eye makeup first will get you a really crisp eye, and I'll show you that in a second. Okay, so after you do that, all I like to do is pop a little bit of lightness in here. Now, you can do so many different things for this step. You can literally use a vanilla tone, you can use a pink tone, you can use whatever the hell tone you want. So I will show you. What I do is I always take my finger and I just dab it here in the middle. So easy. See that? And I am just adding a little bit of lightness to the middle so that I get something that looks a little bit more fresh and awake. For my eyeliner, I want a little bit of a lift here. I want to give myself a little tiny baby wing here to lift up my eyes. I like taking a really tight angled brush and actually getting the liner from that brush. This is way more controlled than going right on the lash line. Sometimes I do it this way and then I blend it out really quickly, but it does not look as precise or beautiful. So if you have an angled brush, which I suggest you get, it's definitely a really important brush to have. You can do a lot of different looks with it. You can use it with your cream liner. Don't feel like you can only put your liner on with the liner. You can definitely put it on with a brush. Okay, so what I do is I grab that liner brush and I position it this way, so that the little internal flick is on my lash line. And I actually go from like the bottom of my lashes up. This is the angle that I move in. I actually connect it to the bottom of the lash, and I advise that you do the same. It's gonna give you the most flattering result. With your eyes up, you want to kind of sketch in where you want that very subtle, cute little flick. See? And oftentimes your crease will get in the way of that flick unless you are lucky and you don't have a heaviness in your crease at all. Some people have a lot of heaviness, some people have less, and some people have eyes that are different. This eye, if you guys can see, is heavier on me than this eye. So it's easier for me to do a wing on this side than this eye, but as long as you keep your wing diffused, you won't have an issue. If you're using a liquid liner, a gel liner, that crease is gonna get in the way of your wing. But if you are using something that is diffused, like a blurred out pencil or a shadow, you will be fine. When you have a brush like this, it makes it really, really easy. A lot of you, I'm sure, are gonna ask me in the comments if it's okay to do this for someone who is older, like 60 or 70 even. And it absolutely is. I do this technique on all of my mature models, not all of them, but many, because it is the easiest way for me to give them an eye lift in 5 minutes. You know, adding this little flick, making sure that it's appropriate and not like obnoxiously huge like Amy Winehouse, making it, you know, a nice little subtle flick will give you that really intense eye lift effect in minutes. Okay, now I'm gonna show you why I did my eyes first, okay? Pay attention to this. There is this Q-tip that you can buy that has a pointy little end. Okay, I just got it at Shoppers Drug Mart. I'm Canadian. You can probably get it at like Ulta or whatever. This is going to be amazing for cleaning up anything that may have fallen here. We didn't do a lot of eye work, so we don't have a lot of fallout, but it's also going to really sharpen your line. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna dip into a moisturizer. This one is the JLo Beauty one, but I mean any moisturizer will do, whatever you have. And then I just kind of roll it on there. And the moisturizer is actually gonna act as an eraser. So if I go in here, I can go like this and I can completely sharpen and skinny that out in 1 second. Look at how amazing that is. So if you're not very good at doing your own makeup, if you're not very good at doing a winged liner in particular, you can get a winged liner really easily by doing it very messy at the beginning and then just going in with a Q-tip and a tiny bit of moisturizer and using that as an eraser to go like and sharpen it up. Isn't that so cool? Okay, so now how do we fix this like disaster of a face without going heavy on the foundation? I'm gonna use this. This is Chanel. This is a Water Fresh Complexion Touch. When I first got this product, I hated it. I really did, I hated it, and I thought it was so pointless. But now that I'm getting older, I just am realizing how much more I'm loving a really fresh look. This is kind of like a serum that has the tiniest amount of pigment. Like if you are looking for coverage, you are not going to get coverage. You're not. But if you're looking for a glowy, dewy, delicious, radiant look, I'm really selling it, aren't I? If you're looking for that, this is the product for you. It is so dewy and so pretty, and it comes with this little brush, which is quite handy, right? Okay, now I have a bit of corrective work to do because I'm sure you noticed I have massive under eye circles, massive. It is the one thing that is very difficult for me to cover. So I'm gonna start with this. It's MAC Prep and Prime. It's peachy, so orange and blue are opposites on the color wheel, so they neutralize and correct themselves. I have so much hollowness and depth here, but I also have quite a few fine lines. So this is the area that I struggle with the most because I need to add brightness here without adding too many products, or else it looks creasy. If I add too many products, I also need to set it, but if I set it, it looks too dry and then I look older. It's this whole cycle, right? Like under the eyes is such a challenge. So if you have blue like me, what I suggest is starting with a color corrector. So what I like doing is applying that color corrector right in the hollows. That's the area where I need it to brighten up the most. Do you see that? And then you don't even really need a brush if you don't want to get one. You can use your fingers. I find using your fingers for things like concealer, I just find that it works exceptionally well. And the technique that you're going to be using is stippling. So stippling is just pressing the product into the skin, and that's how we build coverage in any situation. So if you have discoloration, we're going to stipple. If you have dark circles, we're going to stipple. If you have acne, we're going to stipple. Any situation where you need something to fill up in coverage, you're going to stipple. So you already notice how much better that looks. And that's before even doing any concealer. The reason that I didn't do it here is because I'm not blue and hollow here. I'm blue and hollow here. I want to keep this as fresh and light as possible. The less product we have, the less risk and issues we have with creasing and with over drying and with all of the things, right? You want to apply product where you need it and nowhere else, especially in the summer months where you just want to be fresh faced. You know, you don't need to pile on the products all the time. Just apply them where you need them and don't apply them where you don't. Everything goes in a place for a reason. If there's blue, we color correct the blue, but there's no blue here. So even though it's still under the eyes, it doesn't matter. We don't need to color correct that. And now that I've color corrected that, I can go in with a concealer, and my concealer isn't going to turn like a weird color because it's on top of a blue. If I went in with my concealer without color correcting at all, it just wouldn't have the strength to cover the blue. So it would almost turn into like a bit of like an ashy color. So we need to kind of balance that out before we go in. I'm gonna go back in, right, where I color corrected. And now I can go in here, and that's gonna be to lift. And then I have a little pimple here, so I'm gonna color correct that. And then I'm gonna bring a little bit of the concealer here, not too much because I really don't want too heavy of an application. I'm gonna bring it in here because I have really deep nasolabial folds. I wanna pop those out. And then I'll put a little smidge here. This next step is totally optional, but I like doing a little bit of bronzing when I'm wearing a natural skin. I find that I can do that really quickly, and it's going to warm up my skin, give my face a little bit more dimension with quite, you know, minimal amounts of effort. So I'm applying it here on my cheekbone. I like to keep it right where my cheekbone is and not on the hollow because I don't like to collapse my face too much since I already have quite a skinny face. And then for the nose, I just go right in here and then the tip, and then I go around in a circle. So I like going with the darker color first, and I just go ahead and I blend that out. Now the brush that I am using, this is an excellent brush. I just got it, and it is by the brand Quo, which kind of sucks because a lot of you guys are American. I know you can't get this. It literally is like a brush for blending out contour. I'm gonna leave an alternative for you in the description box below. I wish I could like ship all of you guys these brushes. I need to make my own brush line so I can have gorgeous brushes for all of you guys, because brushes do make quite a bit of a difference. You don't really need a lot of them. You just need the right ones, and you need to use them in the right places, you know? This one's nice because it's nice and stiff, and the flatness of it, like look at that. It's like absolutely perfect for blending out any type of depth. The thing that I am struggling with the most right now is my brows. Let me just quickly explain what I'm doing here. So all I'm doing is taking an eyeshadow brush. This one's also by Quo, but it's just a nice dense little eyeshadow brush. And I'm blending out that contour. I'm blending it up so that my nose gets more narrow. And then I'm blending this little circle out. This is going to give me the illusion that I have a tiny little button nose. And then when it comes to the concealer, under the eyes, I always like stippling with my finger. So see how I'm looking up? I'm smoothing out all the fine lines and wrinkles, and I am blending. That color turned out great. I was a little bit worried it would be too light, but it is not. And then I blend out right in here, which is my nasal labials. I'm just popping those forward. I am having a moment with my eyebrows right now. I hate my eyebrows so much. I got them powder ombre. You know that tattoo, the powder ombre tattoo? I got that done a while ago. I did a whole video about it. Loved it in the moment. It was great. And then I just got tired of it. I'm looking for a brush. I went on a mission to get them lasered off, and I am in that mission now. I have to go for another session. So they are a little bit yellow, and they are just very uneven and kind of crazy. And I'm trying to grow them. So I've been working on growing this entire line of hair out. It actually looks pretty good, right? It's totally growing out. And here, this brow is much worse than this one. See how that one's a lot nicer than this one? So I'm working on it. I'm using a product called Revive 7 in hopes that it will do the thing. But I've experimented with so many brow products in the last little bit. I've used like fiber kind of spoolie things that deposit pigment. I didn't really like how that looked. I finally have discovered that the best way for me to do my brows, and maybe for you too, is with the Anastasia Beverly Hills powder. This powder is in color medium brown that I like using. I don't like matching my hair with a super dark brown. It's very harsh on my face. So I just like using a nice medium kind of chilled out brown. All I do is I take, again, my angled brush that I did my liner with, and I start at the bottom here and I create a little bit of a guide. Do you see that? And then from there, I can blend up. Now, my goal is just have a really beautiful soft brow. I don't want anything crazy. I don't want anything overly defined. So I'm not gonna go crazy and do a really defined brow. And I find that when you have a natural makeup on, when your brows are too defined, it almost doesn't work. All right, let's powder a little bit. I just bought this brand new powder by Chanel. This one is the Natural Finish Loose Powder. The girl at the store told me that it is super, super finely milled, and I really like that because I'm really struggling with under my eyes. I wanna see if this powder is better than the e.l.f. powder. This powder, I use this powder all the time. See, it's e.l.f. I don't want it to follow me. I use that powder all the time. I use it on everyone. It's a phenomenal powder at a very reasonable price point, but apparently this one is all the rage. So let's try it. So what I'm gonna do is I let my concealer chill for a little bit. I didn't want to set my concealer right away because I didn't want it to get too gummy. I wanted the product to dry down enough. So I am just looking up. I already have natural creases, which is very, very normal, right? So I'm just looking up. I am getting rid of some of those creases, and then I'm going to take this little triangular powder puff that I got on Amazon. I suggest you guys get one of these for setting. It is great. And I am just gonna look up and I'm going to set. Now again, this is gonna stop it from creasing in those fine lines, but we don't want it to mattify too much or it will make under your eyes look crepey and older. That actually looks amazing. That actually worked so well. So I'm gonna stipple again, look up, and then I am going to set it. Did you see how much I use? Like it really was such a small amount. Less is more when it comes to under the eyes, honestly. I love a cream blush and I'm loving a cream blush now that I am in my late 30s. So, God, I could do a whole video about cream blush. I really could. I love so many of them. This one's by MAC. I talk about this one a lot. This is in color Grand. It's called the Glow Play Blush. And I like to kind of blend it a little bit into the back of my hand to warm up the product, okay? So that you're not going in right on the cheek and then you can't blend it out, right? So just start on the back of your hand. And then this is what we're gonna do. We are going to not put it on the apples of our cheeks. We're gonna put it over here. If we put our blush over here, it lifts the face up. It's a lot more youthful. Another thing that I do a lot is I take my bronzer. This one obviously is a cream, like I said, but if you want, you can use your powder bronzer, and I like to bring it under the eyes as well as the very last step. So after my eyes are set, after everything is concealed, color corrected, I like warming up this area here. I find it kind of ties everything together really beautifully. Now, of course, before applying mascara, we want to curl our lashes. This makes an enormous difference to the openness of your eye, how awake and how beautiful you look. Another thing that makes a huge difference is priming your lashes. It kind of bulks up your lashes before you put mascara on. So if you see my lashes are white, right? Because it's creating kind of that preliminary coat. Have you guys ever seen this tool? Oh my God, it's so dirty. Look at how dirty it is. This is a lash guard, okay? I'm sorry. I am just all types of casual today, okay? I normally would clean this and make it all pretty for you, but I don't want to. I am so busy with bridal right now. I'm literally dying. Being a full-time YouTuber and having a bridal business that does this much bridal is killing me. Please help me. How do I manage my work-life balance? I don't know. But I really like this lash guard, again, for someone that doesn't have lashes or lashes that are straight, because it will guarantee that you don't mess up your makeup and you can really coat the mascara on like crazy. My favorite mascara right now is Lancome Hypnose Drama because it is thick. So all I do is, see, I press it. I got this thing on Amazon. I thought it was so gimmicky and that I wouldn't like it and I was gonna make fun of it in a video, and then now I'm obsessed. I use it every day. If you take a nice sharp little brush like this is actually a lip brush, but it works really well, and you dip into a very light color like this one. If you take that line and you follow it, you can give yourself a little eye lift very quickly. It's the same as like that highlight contour technique, you know? You just wanna go right in the corner and lift. So a lipstick that is very beloved is Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk. Everyone loves that lipstick. If you are in a hurry, I find that taking 1 second to add a little pop of color, doesn't have to be a dramatic pop of color, just a little pop of color on the lips and on the cheeks. It's everything. Okay, let's pause for a second. I'm gonna blow my hair out with a little volume. I'm gonna put on a cute outfit that's a little bit brighter and nicer for the summer. And I'll be right back to show you my final end result. And there you go. We are all set. I just blew out my hair. Having your hair blown out with volume really does like soften absolutely everything. It makes everything look amazing. It's like the #1 way to go from like looking drab to looking really beautiful is just by blowing out your hair. I've done so many videos on that. But I hope that you guys like this look. It is so luminous. It is so fresh. I really don't feel like I have a lot on my face. It's extremely light coverage, almost no work done on the eyes. Just that little lift here, a little bit of mascara, some primer, lifting where you want to lift and leaving what you don't need to cover alone. This video's over.